Confirmation bias is a mental shortcut our brains take every single day. It is the tendency to search for, interpret, and remember information in a way that confirms our pre-existing beliefs or hypotheses. Imagine your mind is a detective. Instead of looking for all possible clues to solve a case, a mind under the influence of confirmation bias only looks for clues that support its favorite suspect. It ignores any evidence that points to someone else. This process makes us feel confident and right, but it often leads us away from the actual truth. We build a comfortable world of ideas that rarely gets challenged because we are the ones who control the guest list, only inviting information that agrees with us. There are three main ways this bias operates in our thinking. First, we engage in a biased search for information. If you believe that a certain political party is bad for the country, you will likely seek out news articles, opinion pieces, and television programs that reinforce this exact view. You might unconsciously avoid sources that offer a different perspective or present the party in a positive light. This selective exposure creates an information bubble. It feels like everyone agrees with you, but that is only because you have curated your sources to create that illusion. This is not about finding the truth. It is about feeling validated in what we already think. Second, we interpret information in a biased way. Even when we are presented with neutral or ambiguous information, we tend to twist it to fit our existing framework. Let's say you think your new colleague is unfriendly. If you see them walking down the hall without smiling, you might interpret this as proof of their cold personality. You might not consider that they could be having a bad day, be deep in thought, or simply did not see you. The evidence, a person not smiling, is neutral, but your interpretation is shaped entirely by your initial assumption. We become lawyers for our own beliefs, arguing their case with whatever evidence we can find, no matter how flimsy. Finally, our memory also plays tricks on us, selectively recalling information that supports our views. This is called biased recall. If you have a long history with a friend, you might believe they are always unreliable. When you think back on your friendship, you are more likely to remember the times they were late or cancelled plans. You will probably forget the many instances when they were on time and supportive. Your memory filters out the contradictory evidence, leaving you with a distorted but consistent picture that confirms your belief. Our past is not a perfect recording. It is a story we retell ourselves, and confirmation bias is a powerful editor of that story. So, why do our brains so easily fall into this trap? One major reason is that thinking is hard work. Our brains are designed to be efficient, and they use mental shortcuts or heuristics to save energy. It is much easier and faster to accept information that fits with what we already know than it is to challenge our beliefs. Challenging a core belief requires us to rethink many other connected ideas, which is a complex and mentally taxing process. Confirmation bias is like taking a well-trodden path instead of hacking a new one through a dense forest. The familiar path is easy, quick, and requires almost no effort. Another powerful reason is the desire for emotional comfort. Being wrong can feel threatening. It can damage our self-esteem and make us feel foolish or incompetent. When our beliefs are confirmed, we get a pleasant hit of dopamine, the brain's reward chemical. It feels good to be right. This emotional reward encourages us to keep seeking out affirming information. We want to protect our sense of self and our worldview from the discomfort of cognitive dissonance, the mental stress that comes from holding two conflicting beliefs at the same time. Sticking to what we know is a way to maintain a stable and predictable sense of reality, which is deeply comforting. Social factors also play a significant role in reinforcing confirmation bias. We are social creatures who have a deep-seated need to belong. We often adopt the beliefs of the groups we are a part of, whether it is our family, our friends, our political party, or our religious community. Agreeing with the group strengthens our social bonds and our sense of identity. Disagreeing can lead to social friction or even exclusion. Therefore, we are motivated to seek out information that aligns with our group's views, not just our own. This shared bias creates a powerful echo chamber where beliefs are amplified and rarely questioned, making them seem like undeniable truths. This process starts early. From a young age, we learn to trust certain sources of information: our parents, our teachers, our community leaders. We build our foundational beliefs based on what these trusted sources tell us. As we grow older, these early beliefs become deeply ingrained. They form the lens through which we see the world. It takes a conscious and deliberate effort to look at the world through a different lens. For most of us, most of the time, it is simply easier and more natural to stick with the worldview we have always known. Confirmation bias is not a sign of low intelligence. It is a fundamental feature of how the human mind works. The consequences of confirmation bias are not just theoretical, they have a real and often damaging impact on our lives. In the world of finance, an investor might believe a particular stock is destined for success. They will then actively look for news and analysis that supports this belief, such as positive company announcements or optimistic market forecasts. At the same time, they will dismiss or downplay negative signs like poor earnings reports or growing competition. This biased approach can lead to poor investment decisions, causing them to hold on to a failing stock for too long and lose significant amounts of money. The desire to be right overrides the practical goal of making a profit. In politics, confirmation bias is a major driver of polarization. People on opposite sides of the political spectrum can be exposed to the exact same event or piece of data and come away with entirely different interpretations. Each side filters the information through its own ideological lens, accepting what fits and rejecting what does not. This makes productive dialogue nearly impossible, as neither side can understand the other's point of view. It reinforces stereotypes about the opposing group, portraying them as misinformed, irrational, or even malicious. Society becomes more divided, and finding common ground on important issues becomes increasingly difficult. Our personal beliefs and relationships also suffer. For example, if you believe that you are not good at public speaking, you will likely remember every time you stumbled over a word and forget the times you spoke clearly and confidently. This reinforces your negative self-image and might cause you to avoid opportunities that could help you grow. Similarly, in a relationship, if you suspect your partner is being distant, you will interpret their every quiet moment as proof. You might miss the signs that they are simply tired or stressed from work. This can create unnecessary conflict and erode trust over time, all because we seek to confirm our initial, often negative suspicions. Even in critical fields like healthcare, confirmation bias can have serious effects. A doctor might form an initial hypothesis about a patient's illness. They may then subconsciously look for symptoms that confirm this diagnosis, while overlooking evidence that points to a different condition. This can lead to a misdiagnosis and incorrect treatment, potentially harming the patient's health. The same is true for scientific research. Scientists might unintentionally favor data that supports their hypothesis, a phenomenon that can slow down scientific progress. The desire to prove a theory can sometimes be stronger than the desire to find the objective truth, showing how deeply this bias can affect even the most rigorous of professions. Understanding confirmation bias is the first step, but overcoming it requires active and conscious effort. One of the most effective strategies is to deliberately seek out dissenting opinions and contradictory information. Instead of only reading news from sources that align with your views, make a point to read, listen to, or watch sources from the other side. Try to understand their arguments from their perspective, not just to find flaws. This practice, often called steelmanning, involves trying to make the strongest possible case for the opposing view. It forces you to engage with different perspectives and can reveal weaknesses in your own arguments, promoting a more balanced understanding. Another practical tip is to question how you interpret information. When you encounter a new piece of evidence, especially one that seems to confirm what you already believe, pause and ask yourself, how would someone who disagrees with me interpret this? This simple question forces you to step outside of your own head and consider alternative explanations. You could also try playing devil's advocate with yourself or a trusted friend. Argue for the opposite of what you believe. This exercise can help you see the issue from multiple angles and prevent you from jumping to a conclusion that is merely comfortable and familiar. It is also helpful to focus on the process of thinking rather than just the outcome. When making an important decision, consider creating a list of pros and cons. Be honest and thorough with both sides. For the cons side of your preferred option, push yourself to think of as many potential downsides as you can. You can also try a pre-mortem exercise. Imagine that your decision has already been made and it has failed spectacularly. Then, work backward to figure out all the possible reasons for the failure. This helps you identify potential flaws in your plan that your confirmation bias might have caused you to overlook. Finally, embracing humility is key to fighting confirmation bias. We must accept that we are all fallible and that our beliefs could be wrong. Being open to changing your mind is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of intellectual strength and integrity. It is the core of learning and personal growth. By understanding that our minds naturally seek confirmation, we can become more mindful thinkers. We can learn to question our assumptions, listen more openly to others, and make decisions based on a fuller picture of reality. This journey toward better thinking is not about being right all the time, but about being less wrong tomorrow.